Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have any audio on this morning? Oh, good. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marilyn, and it's time for the morning edition of Welcome to My World. This is the 11th of January, and it is a Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. This morning, my goodness, we just have lots of things to look at. Um, there have been I don't usually recommend trading U.S. indices at this time, but they're all three of these indices set up for really nice trades right about 8ish, about 8 o'clock. And so the first question is, well, that's great news. How would I know that was coming? If you are monitoring DAX, the DAX it just hit a couple of ticks below 2 deviation levels this morning. That's a significant move up. The U.S. indices tend to follow the DAX. And if the DAX is having a real happy morning, the U.S. indices are more likely than not to follow right along. So there's been a lot of, I'm sure if you watched any of the talking heads over the weekend, there's all kinds of news about how the Chinese economy is not so good and it's having a global effect and blah, blah, blah. And, sometimes the sky is falling. But we have such great indicators that you can certainly make some significant money by just using these indicators and ignoring the valuable wisdom of the talking heads. Anyway, we have the indices. They put up a nice trade. It looks like from about I don't know, midnight on, they tended to go up. The dollar has been in a little bit of a tight chop all morning. It's kind of iffy, and gold is in a bit of a tight range. But Brent and is a few, not many, but a few ticks over West Texas this morning. We'll see if that holds. The big news from Friday afternoon at the close is this VIX. Oh my goodness. Closed at 27.01. 27. That'll bear watching for the next week or so. If that backs off, then we may see another rise in these indices. But if that thing continues to maintain 25 and 27 and even up to 30 and 35, we may see these indices turn around and sell off a little bit. So, bonds, I'm not real sure what they're trying to do here. They sold off in the early morning hours, and then they're everything looks like it's waiting around to see, what are you going to do? I don't know. What are you going to do? So just follow your indicators. For the news, this is going to be a bit of a busy week. The news, we've got 10:30, we've got some U.S. news. 9:30, we've got the Royal Bank of Canada manufacturing numbers. Tomorrow morning is not much. 8:30 is some Canadian news. Wednesday, there is a lot of news, and we'll have crude oil inventory. Thursday, there's quite a bit of news. And Friday also, but Friday is options expiration of this week. It's the third Friday. The crude oil contract will be rolling that over the weekend. So if you don't know how to roll your contracts, sometime this weekend there is there's a video on the forum of how to roll your contracts over to the next month. So this will probably be the last week that we're on the February crude oil contract. The indices and bonds and the currencies are all rolled only 4 times a year, so we don't have to worry about that so much. But crude oil rolls every month. So if you're trading that market, that's something you really need to address. This morning we had a very good question in here about finding magnets from the volume levels, and how do you determine what volume you should be using. That's kind of the $64,000 question. It will depend on the market, and if you squish your chart up, I'll show you what I mean by squish it up a whole bunch. If you take it and squish it up kind of like this 30-minute, you will start to see the highs and the lows. And there's no sense in spinning your wheels, making a bunch of magnets that are way out of what I refer to as the neighborhood we're trading in right now. For instance, if you're looking for NQ, you don't need to be looking for the 2400 magnets right now, because the NQ, the likelihood of the NQ falling 2,000 points in 1 week is slim to nothing, and slim just left. So pay attention to the price levels within reason where your market is trading this week, or is likely to trade this week. And don't be trying to go back 5 years and 25 years and all this bunch of nonsense, because for the way we trade at Apex, that doesn't really amount to too much. There will be magnet levels that you notice in highs and lows within a reasonable range, and so those are the ones to take, and then take a look at it in another week or so, particularly if there's been a big move in the market that you like to trade, or the markets. So I think that's about it. This VIX is really a big deal when it's 27, 1 tick above 27. Oh, and I wanted to point out to you too, this morning on crude oil, this was a great trade right here. Even though we were below settlement, this green E right here, if you notice, it coincided with, where was that? Right about 8 o'clock. Yeah, right about 8 o'clock. And if you've watched the video that John did on making this sharpshooter as simple as possible, remember what he said is this trendar, this is the final decision right here. When this thing flips above the 0 line, it doesn't matter what this bar color is, because the trendar trumps everything. No pun intended there to Mr. Trump. But anyway, when you see this happen, and particularly when you've got this green E and it's coming off a power line, and you have the EMA right here on the 12 tick, this is a great trade. And where is it going? Well, my first take profit would be right here at this. This is the high of last session. But when it's coming through here and you have exceeding volume and your deviation is climbing, 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 and this sharpshooter is climbing, 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 then I would move my take profit on up to the next major street, which is settlement. And it went a couple of ticks beyond settlement. So that's kind of how I'm trying to use this right now. And then you notice the volume is backing off. I keep it on this 10-minute chart because it's a little easier to see in a bigger perspective. But the volume is backing off, and the market is at least taking a breath. What it'll do next, only the bus driver knows. I think that's about it for this morning. I will come back at noon and go over any trades that we may or may not have had. But this morning, crude oil gave that really nice trade, and if you keep a 6 tick up of crude oil, it very much mirrored what the sharpshooter was doing. And I know some of you are trying to learn how to use all this stuff. Just pick one and learn it cold. And then you can add indicators, or you can add a different frame of another chart to see how they correlate and how you might be helped, because this stuff it's dynamite when it all cylinders are firing here, or whatever that is. So I'll come back at noon, and this has been my view from my world in Apex Land, brought to you by Apex Investing. I'll see you a little later. Thanks.